In the far reaches of the galaxy, nestled in the remnants of a once thriving civilization, a planet now lies barren. Its cities, once gleaming with advanced technology, now stand hollow, desolate. An alien race, logical, advanced, and cold, once called this place home. They were creatures of intellect, prizing reason and logic above all else. But no level of intelligence could save them when the plague came. A virus, swift and merciless, swept through their people. As the contagion spread, panic rose, but it was not a panic of emotions, it was a race against time, against death. Their priorities shifted. With survival on the line, they looked inward, coldly calculating what could be spared and what could not. Among the first to be cast aside were their pets, creatures they had engineered long ago to be companions. These weren't just animals. They were beings of extraordinary emotional depth, designed to bond telepathically with their owners. They were sensitive to feelings, intelligent enough to understand complex emotions, and capable of love. Yet, in the eyes of their creators, they had become a burden, an attachment too trivial in the face of extinction. As the cities emptied and the sick fell, these pets, once cherished, were left behind. Alone and confused, they wandered through the ruins, searching for the ones who had abandoned them. Their glowing forms, soft and ethereal, flickered with the pain of neglect. Large, expressive eyes, capable of communicating deep sadness, reflected their growing despair. They were scattered across the dying world, forgotten. The cold calculation of their creators had left no room for sentimentality. Where other species might cling to loved ones in times of crisis, these aliens saw the pets as mere relics, designed to provide companionship but now irrelevant in the race for survival. One by one, the pets watched their owners fade, the telepathic connections they had forged weakening until they were nothing but a whisper in the vast emptiness of the planet. The last of the aliens, in their final moments, didn't look back. To them, emotion was weakness, and in the end, that belief had cost them everything. But for the pets, those moments stretched endlessly, an eternity of waiting, hoping for the return of someone who would never come back. They were left with nothing but the echo of the bonds they had once shared, slowly fading into silence. And so, they waited. Unmoving, silent, their glowing forms dimming as the days turned into years. No one came. The galaxy moved on, and in the cold logic of the universe, these creatures had been deemed unnecessary. Yet, even as their bodies weakened, their hearts still yearned, still reached out into the void, hoping against hope for someone to care again. Years after the alien race had faded into obscurity, humanity arrived in the forgotten star system, drawn by the allure of discovering what had been lost. The mission was simple: gather information, artifacts, and technology from the extinct civilization. The human explorers stepped cautiously through the ruins, their steps echoing through the empty streets. The once majestic structures of the alien world were now little more than crumbling reminders of a past that had been erased by time. As they navigated the derelict cities, the group was struck by the silence. It was the kind of silence that spoke of abandonment, of a world that had been left to die. Their sensors picked up nothing, no signs of life, no movement. But then, a faint reading, barely detectable, caught their attention. Intrigued, they followed it, weaving through the skeletal remains of the city. Eventually, they stumbled upon something unexpected, a small, weak creature, its glow faint but unmistakable. One of the explorers knelt beside it, surprised that anything could still be alive on this desolate planet. The creature, delicate and fragile, lifted its head with effort, its large, expressive eyes filled with an emotion the explorers couldn't quite name: fear, sadness, maybe hope. The captain, known for his stoicism, paused, taken aback by the intensity of the creature's gaze. It wasn't just an animal, it was something more. And it was still trying, even after all this time, to connect. While other species might have passed this creature by, dismissing it as an insignificant remnant of a dead race, the humans didn't. They couldn't. There was something about the creature that stirred something deep within them, something they couldn't ignore. It reached out, not physically but telepathically, its weak thoughts touching their minds like a faint whisper. The connection was tentative, hesitant, but real. It was scared, confused, alone, and the humans understood. In that moment, the mission changed. The creature held no strategic value, no immediate benefit to their task, but the humans decided to rescue it anyway. It was in their nature to care, even when logic said otherwise. They carefully lifted the fragile form and brought it back to their ship, where they tended to its wounds, providing it with food, warmth, and most importantly, kindness. As they nursed it back to health, something began to shift. At first, the creature remained distant, its trust damaged by years of abandonment. But gradually, it began to respond to the human's care. Small moments stood out: the first time it made eye contact without fear, the first tentative telepathic message of gratitude. It was more than just an animal. It was a being of incredible intelligence and emotional depth. The humans felt it reaching out, trying to understand them, just as they were trying to understand it. The bond formed slowly, with each day bringing the humans closer to the creature. The captain, once a figure of stoic discipline, found himself sitting quietly with it, sharing stories of Earth, of humanity, while it listened, eyes soft and attentive. The biologist on the team, initially interested in the creature's physiology, soon realized its mind was far more fascinating than its biology. The creature began to share faint, fragmented memories of its past, its lost owners, its loneliness. These were not the thoughts of a mere pet, they were the echoes of a complex, sentient being. The humans couldn't help but marvel at the depth of the creature's emotions. It wasn't just responding to their care, it was forging a genuine connection with them, something the cold logic of its creators had never allowed. As the bond grew, the humans began to wonder, what had this creature truly been to the aliens? And why had they, in their final moments, left it behind? The questions lingered, but for now, the humans were content to simply be there for the creature, offering it the compassion it had been denied for so long. Where other species had seen something obsolete, humanity saw something precious. And in doing so, they had begun to unlock something far greater than they could have imagined. Over time, something unexpected began to happen. The creature the humans had rescued, once frail and weak, started to change. At first, it was subtle, a sense of calm that seemed to fill the room when it was near. The humans felt it too, like a mental clarity, a sharpening of their thoughts and emotions. Their moods lifted in its presence, their fatigue faded faster, and injuries seemed to heal quicker than normal. None of this was in the alien records they had found about these pets. It was as though the creature's bond with them was enhancing their very beings. Intrigued by these developments, the team dug deeper into the archives left behind by the alien race. Their search led them to an ancient set of records, tucked away and nearly forgotten, which hinted at something far more significant than a simple companion species. The texts were cryptic, written in a language that had been difficult to decipher, but with enough time and effort the truth emerged. The pets, they discovered, weren't just designed for companionship. They were genetically modified to hold an ancient secret, a key embedded deep within their DNA. This code, when activated, could potentially unlock the path to reviving the alien race itself. The telepathic bond between pet and owner wasn't just emotional, it was the mechanism that activated these latent abilities. The more intense the connection, the greater the powers the pets could unleash. Yet, the cold, calculating nature of their creators had prevented them from ever truly bonding with the creatures in the way that was required. The aliens had never known the kind of empathy needed to unlock the full potential of their creations. It was this emotional disconnection that had doomed them. In their drive for survival, they had overlooked the one thing that might have saved them, the power within the pets they discarded. The humans, however, had done what the aliens could not. Without even realizing it, they had formed the kind of deep, emotional bond that could trigger the pets' hidden capabilities. The compassion, empathy, and understanding that humans naturally possessed were the exact qualities that made them the ideal caretakers of these creatures. This realization hit the humans with full force. They weren't just rescuing a lost species, they were now the only ones in the galaxy capable of unlocking the pet's true purpose. It was both an incredible responsibility and a revelation that shifted the entire context of their mission. The creature, once a mere companion, was now something far more important. It wasn't just healing them, it was reaching into their minds, enhancing them, preparing them for something greater. As the humans connected these dots, the emotional weight of the situation became clear. The pets had been abandoned by their creators, deemed useless and left to die. But now, with humanity, they had found their true purpose. The human's ability to care, to empathize, and to bond had not only saved the pet's life, it had opened the door to something far larger. This was a revelation that the cold logic of the aliens could never have allowed. The humans began to wonder what else the creature could unlock, not just within itself, but within them. The emotional connection wasn't a one-way street, it was mutual. The more the humans gave of themselves, the more the creature responded, becoming stronger, more vibrant. Its abilities grew with their affection. The bond was symbiotic, and in that connection lay the answer to a question the alien race had failed to solve. Humanity's role in the cosmos had just expanded in ways they hadn't expected. They were no longer mere explorers. They were now the guardians of something ancient, something powerful, something that could reshape the future of an entire species. And all of it stemmed from one thing: their ability to feel, to care, to connect in ways that the galaxy had underestimated. The pet, once an abandoned relic, had become the key to something far greater than anyone could have anticipated. With the realization of the pet's hidden potential, the human explorers devised a daring plan. The creature they had rescued was just one of many, scattered across the remains of the alien worlds, waiting for someone to understand their true purpose. The humans knew now that these creatures, once discarded and forgotten, held the key to something far greater: the revival of an entire species. The plan was simple in concept but monumental in execution. They would need to find more of the abandoned pets, bring them back, and form the bonds that the aliens never could. Only through this deep connection would the genetic code embedded within the creatures be fully unlocked. Each step was filled with uncertainty. The records were incomplete, and there were no guarantees that the process would work. But the humans, driven by a mixture of hope and determination, began to scour the alien planets, searching for more of these creatures. Every time they found one, sickly and weak, they took it in, offering the same care and compassion that had saved the first. And every time, the bond formed. Slowly but surely, the pets began to grow stronger, their latent powers revealing themselves as the connections deepened. The humans could feel it. Something was happening, something big. They were unlocking a power that had lain dormant for centuries. But not everyone in the galaxy saw the significance of what they were doing. Other alien species, who had also ventured into the remains of the extinct civilization, scoffed at the humans' efforts. To them, these creatures were nothing more than remnants of a failed race, unworthy of attention. Some were openly hostile, accusing humanity of wasting resources and time on beings that had been abandoned for good reason. These species, pragmatic and cold, couldn't comprehend the bond between the humans and the pets. They saw no profit in it, no strategic advantage, and dismissed it as foolish sentimentality. Yet humanity pressed on. Alone, they faced the skepticism and indifference of the galaxy. Where others saw relics of the past, the humans saw life, life that could be nurtured, healed, and transformed. The pets, once thought to be obsolete, were growing stronger with every bond formed. Their powers expanded, subtly reshaping the humans they were connected to. The explorers began to realize that it wasn't just about reviving the alien race, it was about creating something new. These pets, with their ability to heal and enhance, could be the foundation for a future unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Finally, after what felt like a lifetime of searching and connecting, the moment of revelation came. The genetic potential within the pets, unlocked fully by the bonds they had formed with the humans, reached a tipping point. The creatures, once small and fragile, began to evolve. They weren't just tools to revive an extinct species, they were evolving into something greater. With humanity's help, they had become the key to reshaping not just the past, but the future. The galaxy, long divided and ruled by cold logic and power, was now faced with a new force, one driven by empathy, by connection, by compassion. The revival didn't take the form anyone expected. It wasn't the rebirth of the old alien race, but something entirely different, A new species, a new evolution, one that combined the best of both worlds. The pets, through their bond with humans, had found a new purpose. And in doing so, they had reshaped the balance of power in the galaxy. Where others had dismissed them, humanity had nurtured them. And now, that nurturing had led to something far beyond what anyone had imagined. In the end, humanity stood as the unlikely heroes. Not through conquest, not through technological superiority, but through something far more powerful, their ability to care. The pets, once abandoned and left to die, had found new life through the unique empathy of humanity. And in turn, they had given humanity a place at the center of galactic events, not as conquerors, but as guardians of something profound. In the quiet aftermath, the humans and their bonded pets shared a moment of reflection. The universe, vast and indifferent, had been changed not by force, but by compassion. The pets, glowing softly in the dim light of the stars, looked up at their human companions with eyes full of trust and gratitude. They had been forgotten once, but never again. Together they had forged a new path, one built on understanding, on connection. And in that bond they had found not only survival, but a new beginning. The humans, too, felt the weight of what had been achieved. They had not just saved a species, they had reshaped the future. And as they looked at the stars, they knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy, once cold and distant, was now a place where empathy and connection had the power to change everything.